Hello my beautiful crafty friends, I am Katio with Lunar Sun Creations and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome in. We do all kinds of crafty things here, from paper arts to polymer clay to alcohol inks, all kinds of wonderful things, whatever I'm in the mood for to do. So in part one of this video, we created all of these canes, and today we are going to put them together in a big kaleidoscope cane, and we're going to create something beautiful. Okay, so first steps. I've got some of my silver blend still left, so I'm going to wrap the outsides of both of these orange and pink pieces in that. Just gonna stretch it out a little bit. It's just a little bit too narrow. There we go. So if you haven't seen part one, go check that out first, because that will show you how we created all of these things, and then it'll get you to this point. So we're gonna cut that. Fabulous. Do the same with our other one. Is this going to be enough? I think so. Just. Okay, so those are going to go right against this purple. So let's see, I've got some black rolled out here that's going to be kind of like filler wherever we might possibly need it. So I think I'm going to do just a tiny log of black just to make sure there's no gap in between these. Let's put these together first, and then we will fill in the gap. Because the gap is up here. This is where we want that little log. Okay, and then we're going to put our purple piece right in there. And now we're going to put a couple triangles of black right there. So I'm just going to cut a couple strips and kind of roll them into a nice log, and then form that log into triangles. So I'm just going to move these over for a second here. So our goal is to create a square, and then that square is going to be cut, it's going to be reduced and then cut into 4 parts and put together again. This is my initial sketch here, so let's see how close we can get to that sketch. Okay, so I'm going to pinch this log. So just taking my thumb and forefinger, or my index finger, and just pinching. Because you don't want any gaps, because that will kind of squish the clay in ways you don't want it to squish. So anywhere there's a little gap, we're just going to fill in with some black triangle. Just going to do a bit more triangle here. Okay, so I'm going to fill in, just going to trim off that pointy end there, and put our other triangle right in there. Just going to trim off this little knob here as well. There we go. Okay, so we've got triangles in there. Now this piece is going to sit kind of on top like that. I think I do want a tiny space in between that, so I'm going to wrap some black around the purple. Let's just cut this down. So we need it to be 2 inches So the whole cane is 2 inches high. Okay, I'm gonna slice this. Oh, let's make sure that it's the same on this side. Okay, let's just trim that off and then work it in. Oh, that didn't cut quite deep enough. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to squish this around this purple bit here and then trim off any excess on this side. Use the sharp end of the blade. Pro tip. Okay, make sure there's no air bubbles or gaps or anything. Okay, fabulous. And now I just want to kind of put a little bit of a curve into this to kind of go around that purple. So I'm just going to use my fingers just to kind of push in a little bit of an indent, just so it's not a straight edge. That's probably good. Let's check it out. That looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll put that on. Okay, I'm just going to trim that little bit. It's a little bit longer than everything else, so I'm just going to trim that off a bit. Okay, fabulous. Now we need to fill in these areas. So this is one of our points here. I think I'm going to put 2 pink pieces here and here. So these, I don't think I showed these on screen in the last video, but it was the same thing that I was doing the whole time around. I was just taking about 1 inch of our like gradient block that we created and just pinching in to form kind of like a rough like marquee shape almost, or like a petal shape almost. And then I wrapped it in solid pink. So I just did that twice. And I think I'm going to put some silver in here. So let's just add a little bit of silver right in there. So let's just chop a couple pieces. We'll just fit this. Yeah, that looks good, I think. Okay, so we've got some silver right there, and we'll do the same on the other side. Okay, and now I'm going to add these 2 pink pieces in. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more silver around the top of this jelly roll triangle. Okay, so pinch that together. Okay, now I'm going to add some black fill in here, and then this is going to go around the outside. So I'm actually going to cut our border in half. I'm just going to trim up the ends so it's nice and straight, and let's measure it first, and then I'm going to cut it in half. So it is just shy of, so it's about 3.5. Okay, so half is going to go here, the other half is going to go here, and then we'll see if we need anything on the point to finish it up. So we do have a couple spaces that need a little bit of black. We need some black here, some black here, and then in these spaces here. So let's do that. Okay, so just create your triangle with your fingers here. Okay, so I'm going to fill in these bits here. This might need to be a bit of a wider triangle, so I'm just going to push while pinching, and that will like create a wider triangle. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so that there. Just going to pinch it off and then do the same on the other side. And pinch it off. Okay, so we've got our black there. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of black over here in the corners. So there and here. Okay, perfect. That's what we've got so far. Now I am going to add another layer of black because there's still a bit of an indent and I want this to be quite straight down. So let's just go with, let's cut a couple pieces of this black actually. Okay, so we'll do a strip here. Do another strip over here. I might do one more still. And just kind of, it's just like almost tapered layers. So starting small and then going big. And this one, they're not quite even, so I want to, another bit of black going further up this silver, because over here it's quite high on the silver and over here it is not. So try and make this as symmetrical as possible. Okay, and then I'll do one more layer over here. Let's just re-roll this. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. It's looking fairly square shaped. Okay, now we are going to add our border. So our border is going to sit here. And then the other side is going to sit here. And I think I'm just going to have a tiny bit of, do I want black or do I want orange? No, I'm going to go black. So we're just going to do a little bit of black right here, or I could do a bigger piece of purple. Probably overcomplicating it. Let's go with, I have a tiny bit of this left over. I'm going to make it really small and fit it in there, I think. The point will be the corner. So I'm just going to reduce this quite small. If you don't have any of this left over, then you can just do like a log of purple wrapped in silver or in black, or I mean, as much as this is a tutorial, I also want this to be a very intuitive process as well, and you don't have to do every exact step that I'm doing. If you want to do things a tiny bit different, switch up the colors, like switch up whatever it is that you want to switch up. Like That is completely fine. Encouraged, really. I want you to explore what clay can do. I mean, that's how I've been learning, and through trial and error and mistakes, and I mean, that's the best way to learn, is to just practice. And the cool thing about clay is that even when you mess something up, the amount of stuff that you can do with scraps is so incredible. Okay, let's see if this is a good size to fit. I'm just gonna make it a little bit more squat. I don't know why I use the word squat. I never say squat. It's so interesting word to say. Just a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter. Okay, and I'm just gonna round it a little bit. I don't want it to be quite so triangle-y. Okay, I think that's good now. Let's stick that in there. And I might need just a little bit, yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit of black clay to fill. Okay, so I'm just gonna put 2 tiny little logs of black clay right in there. Oops. Okay, and then I'm just going to cover this corner as well with some really thin black clay. So I don't want the silver showing, I want it to be all black on the edge. Okay, so I've just got a little strip of thin clay, and we're just going to put that over our triangle, just so it's all the same color there. And just double check and see if there's any other places that need some fill. Yeah, okay, so we need just a little bit of black right there. I'm going to put just a tiny triangle of purple right on this corner. Yeah. Okay, so there is our square cane, and now we are going to reduce it. Okay, so right now the cane is about 2 inches square, so I'm going to reduce it until it is maybe 1 inch on each side. So I'm going to reduce it to quite a bit. So to reduce it, I'm just going to lay it on my work surface, push in on the bottom, kind of pushing it into the table while squeezing in. And I'm just going to work my way up the block. And then I'm going to flip it onto its side. And I'm going to do the same process. So I'm starting in the center and kind of working out to the side. So starting and then moving up, center, out, center, out, center, out. And then I'm just going to keep doing that. My black clay is quite a bit softer than my other clays, so you can see that it's already kind of bumping up. So every once in a while, put it on your work surface and do one of those. You will have waste, like the ends are going to be all messy, but don't worry about that. That is inevitable and part of the process. But you can kind of minimize it a little bit by pushing the ends onto the work surface every once in a while. Okay, so this is probably going to take me a good 20 minutes to half an hour to do, because I want to do it nice and slowly. I don't want to rush it because if you squeeze too much too fast, it's just going to wreck the pattern, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to take my time with it and slowly maneuver it until it's about like yay long. Okay, so I'll be back when I do that. So as you're reducing, you can use your roller a little bit just to keep things kind of smooth, but try to do most of it with your hands. Don't rely on just the roller. And one of the main things to focus on is keeping these lines as straight as possible, because then you will know that your pattern inside is looking good. And if it starts to look like you need to cut some off the ends, then you'll notice that I did do that, because this outside was getting way too squished out. So yeah, feel free to trim off the ends as you go so it doesn't get too out of control. And yeah, just keep working at it. We're about halfway, a little more than halfway there. So I'll keep going and come back to you when it is to the length that I need it. Okay, so it is now at 8 inches long, so I'm just going to cut off the ends here, and that will give us an idea of what we've got. It's looking pretty cool. Not sure which way I wanted to go. I guess that was the way that I had originally had it. If I was to do it again, I would make the border much bigger and this much smaller, but I think it's still going to be quite cool. So now we're going to measure it into 4 equal parts. Okay, and now we put it together. So just make sure to line things up as best you can, and then go to the other side, flip it around, and make sure everything's lined up there as well. And then do the other two. Just going to trim this off a little bit. Okay, and then put them together. Looks pretty good on that side. Just going to trim this off. You can tell that the very ends are a little bit bigger. They didn't get reduced quite as much, so let's just fix that. We'll just kind of move these two up a little bit. Okay, and now we reduce this again. So in the exact same way, we're going to reduce this into a slightly smaller, not quite as small as the 1 inch, but we are going to reduce it a little bit. Okay, so right now it is at 4 inches, but I am going to trim off the ends here. And then before I actually slice into it, I'm going to let the cane rest for at least a few hours. So that's the end. The inside is a little bit nicer. It is a little bit more uniform on the very inside once we get in there. But yeah, lessons learned. So there's what it actually looks like inside. Lessons learned. Simpler is better. I love everything but the jelly roll. The jelly roll just it doesn't have enough definition anymore, and it's the only part that I'm not really fond of. I like the shape of it. I like the idea of it, but I think I would just go just 2 colors again, or even a single color possibly, maybe just an orange the next time I would do this. And also I would make the outside border much bigger, because when it reduced, it's just, you can't even tell. All the work we did is just kind of gone. So those are my tips. But I mean, I'm still learning. I've only been doing this for a while, and a learning process for me as well as you. And overall, though, I really, really like it, and I'm definitely going to use it. But I am going to do another version of this same cane and see if I can improve it. And I will show you that when I finish it. I just really want one clean slice so you can really see. There we go. There's a nice clean slice for you. Ta-da! So I do really like it, and I'm going to right now do another version of it and see if I can make it even better. Okay. Love you lots, and I hope you will give this a shot. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye! So before I go, I just wanted to show you, I did do it a second time. And instead of doing the jelly roll, I did just some simple orange and pink, just wrapped in black. And the black and white actually. Very thin layers. And then I did make the border bigger, but I would still make it bigger again. Like almost as big as, well, not quite as big as the center bit, but closer to that. So you actually could have some definition of that. It did make a very big cane. Here's what it looks like all put together. So even the dots got a little lost. So stick to bigger, when you're building the cane in the first place, like stick to bigger pieces because they will show up. So lesson learned, and I'm going to keep going. I mean, if you're making canes and you're keeping them this size, then it's great. But if you're reducing it smaller, then definitely stick to big pieces. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I'm going to keep playing, and I'm hoping you're enjoying this content. And if you are, give me a thumbs up and let me know that you're enjoying it, and I will keep going. All right. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I will see you again soon. Bye.